During the most difficult, I'm telling you guys, like the most difficult financial struggle I had ever been through, I ended up with a car. Hi guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the financial breakthrough that God did in my life, and basically just miracle that he did in my life to help me get a car. Just for context, during this time, I have my own business where I do videography. I say as if you know, but you probably don't know. To do that, you have to travel to a lot of places. I took a lot of Ubers, Lyfts, and etc. I spent a lot of money on that, and I knew I needed a car. I got my license in January 2020. Because of my financial situation, I didn't make a lot of money doing the work that I did. I just couldn't afford a car. Not only that, but I had to take care of certain family members, particular my grandma who passed away last May. She had an amputated leg and had cancer, and she lived in Dominican Republic. So my mom and I really had to help her a lot. Just so many other circumstances that happened where it was like I was spending my money responsibly, but nonetheless I couldn't save money because I had a lot of expenses compared to how much income was coming in. But nonetheless, God just took this opportunity to glorify himself, and that's why I'm making this video. It's not about just because God is making a financial blessing, there's other blessings that God does that aren't financial, but it just so happened that he wanted to show me his great mercy and like his great grace and provision through giving me this car. So one, I needed a car. God gave me a car. I'm gonna tell you guys how. It just so happened, I was going through a lot of financial stress personally. I didn't know what to do. I was like, God, how do I grow my business? What should I do? I was stressing out, talking to my friend. And it just so happened that a year prior to this huge stress that was going on in my life, I had signed up for a wait list for an organization that I actually work with. Like, they're one of my clients. They sell used cars. It's super low key. The wait list is pretty long sometimes, and you just don't know. Like, I didn't even know I was on the wait list because when I started working with this client, somebody told me, hey, you can, if you don't have a car, like you could sign up for a wait list because they sell cars. And I was like, wait, are you sure? And since I just started working with them, I asked if they could add me on the list. But the response I got was not clear, like in the sense of like they said they told the person that they would put me on the list, but they didn't quite confirm, and because I was new with working with them, I wasn't gonna be like, hey, did you put me on the list? Like, just make sure you put me on it. I was on a wait list that I didn't even know I was on, kind of, for a car. A whole year later, I get a message during this time where I'm like super stressed out about money and I'm like super anxious about it, and I'm praying to God, like, what should I do with my job, with my career? Like, what should I do? I can't do anything. Also, this was 2 years after I got my license, and I was praying to God for a car. I couldn't save up money for it. A year after I was put on this wait list that I wasn't sure if I was actually on or not, I'm working out and I get an email, and the email says, hey Kat, are you still interested in a car? We have 2 cars I want you to check out. The cars were valued at such a good price. Like, one was $5,000 and very low mileage, but an older model. The other one was $6,500, like a newer, more recent years and very low mileage. So I got this email. I was dead broke. Also, this is another thing I forgot to mention, but I had also, because I was struggling and so anxious about money, I had called up an old client to see if they would hire me for something. And it just so happened a week before I get this email, that person is like, you know what, I'm gonna hire you from this day to this day, and I'm gonna pay you $5,000. So for various months, he was gonna pay me a lump sum of $5,000, which was gonna be paid at the end of it, or like half at the beginning, half at the end. So I'm stressed about money. I have this $5,000 gig that I secured, and I don't have any savings for a car. I get messaged about 2 cars, one which is exactly the amount of money that I'm gonna get paid. So I'm in this predicament where it's like, okay, I'm on a wait list. I'm gonna check out these cars. If I say no to this, I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this wait list anymore. I don't know what's gonna happen. So out of faith, I say, you know what, let me just go check out the cars and let's see if I like them. So I checked out the car, and the $5,000 one was older. So I didn't look at that one. I actually looked at the newer one. And when I got into it, I was like, yo, this is my car. I would be stupid if I leave this lot without this car. But in my head, I was like, okay, but how am I gonna make this happen? Like, am I gonna swipe a credit card? Like, what am I gonna do? Because this is above my budget. Like, I have no budget, first of all. But if I do ask that client if they could pay me ahead of time, this car is more expensive. So therefore, let me just go for the less expensive one. So out of faith, I call my client and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm in this situation. I was offered this deal. They happen to know the organization that was selling this car. And this person was a great client. They literally helped me when I needed the most and hired me when I needed the most. So I told them, hey, is there any chance you could pay me ahead of time and I'll just work the hours off and I'm gonna get the $5,000 car. Like, the reason I need this money is because I was offered these two cars. It's a great deal. I told them the how much it cost because I was like, it was so good. I was like, I have to tell you how much it costs, you know, and I need you to understand that, like, I really need this. Please just give me the money ahead and I'll just work, I promise. And the person was like, wait, so how much is the other car though? And I was like, oh, it was $6,500. And they were like, okay, what's the model? And I was like, oh, it was, you know, a newer model. And they were like, you should get that car. And I'm like, wait, but I'm only gonna get paid $5,000. And they were like, don't worry, I'm gonna pay you more. Boom. They paid me more. They gave me the check. During the most difficult, I'm telling you guys, like the most difficult financial struggle I had ever been through, I ended up with a car. You know, it seems kind of crazy because when I got that 5K, I was like, yo, I could get a car with this. But then I'm like, wait, but I have bills to pay, I have things to do. And then, you know, it was just such a great opportunity. I got the car. That is my testimony. God is good. God is great. And I had to wait a while. I had to go through a lot. And once I got that gig secured for $5,000, which then increased to $6,500, I did have to pay some things with my credit card for the registration and all that stuff. But right after, I legit got a gig to make a video for this organization that I had bought the car from. And it just so happened that they needed me to go film somebody in New Jersey. I'm from New York. New Jersey is an hour away. So I would have had to take a Lyft or an Uber that would have cost so much money to go there, or ask a friend to take me there. And it just so happened that I get the money for the car, I get the car, and then I get a new gig that was gonna bring me in more money that required me to drive to the location that was very far away. So it was like God provided exactly what I needed when I needed it. In the midst of me being so financially scared of like, what am I gonna do? God came through. And it's such a blessing. Like, to this day, I'm like, I look outside my window, I'm like, I have a car, like, I don't believe it. And I thank God for it. To him be the glory, to him be the honor, to him be everything. Because another thing I'm gonna add before I finish this video is that my church was virtual because they were under construction. So we had a rental location for our church. During the pandemic, we gave up that rental location because we had a new church that was in construction. During that process of being on Zoom, you know, this new church was gonna be farther for us. It was gonna be like an hour plus on train and bus, which we don't have an issue doing, but we spend so many years traveling in bus and train and bus and train everywhere, you know, and I needed a car for my job and we needed a car, we wanted a car to be able to go to church more easily and not have to struggle the way we did before for so many years, going to the first church I ever went to. It's an hour away. Me and my mom prayed to God, like, God, please help me get a car for my job, but two, like, help us get a car before the new church opens. And it was legit like 2 months before the church opened that this car came. Yeah, I share this because God is so good. You're scared financially right now, but just pray to the Lord. You know, pray to him who is the owner of the universe to give you what you need. You know, not for vanity, not for our glory, but for his glory. He will provide just what we need when we need it. So I pray that and hope that this encouraged you. Click on this video if you want more encouragement of things that God has done in my life that he can also do in yours. If you just have faith and just, not even that, like if you just pray to him and surrender your will to him, he could possibly do this, or he could do this for you as well. Bye, God bless you, and see you in the next video.